Hello everyone, this is Priyasha Das from XAT, and in this video we're going to discuss some tips and tricks related to poem writing. Now, the videos on poem writing, not just this year but the last year ones, are also available on the channel. You have to just visit them and practice on the non-PYQ and PYQ questions of the poem writing from there. And if you have already attended the previous workshop on poem, then you must have done the homework also till 2018, I guess. So you were asked to do the poems from 2022 till 2018. Please do them, okay, if you haven't done them yet. And PYQs are again the best source to practice, but of course, I would be giving you something extra as well to practice from. But right now in this video, we'll be focusing on two things. Number one are some tips and tricks to be kept in mind while reading through and analyzing a poem. This will definitely help you and improve your present condition. And the second thing is a poem which I think is very important according to one of my professors, and he's been talking about that poem for around 10-15 minutes in the class. So I thought that maybe it's in his mind. So if anything comes like this, a hunch, a smaller hunch is also taken into consideration. And this is one benefit of you guys following me on YouTube, right? That if I feel something is important, I'll just tell you. I don't take any responsibility that it will come or not, but at least if it looks like important, I'll tell you. Okay, so the first thing which we need to keep in mind while reading a poem is that you have to read the poem one through without stopping. Now, how will this process help us? This will help us to determine the tone of your poem, as well as it will also help you get a general idea of the poem. So when these kind of things are, coming out as a result when you read the poem one without stopping, this will help us, a lot to have a basic idea on what the poem is all about and how are we going to get questions from this poem. The second thing which we need to keep in mind here is determine the general tone of the poem. This we will get to know by reading the first point only, okay? I mean, reading the full poem without stopping only, we'll get to know the tones. Now, if you are worried about what are the different types of tones or something, again, I will redirect you to my quick revision sheet. If you haven't seen it yet, please go back to it. The link is there in the description box, also there in my Telegram group, that you have to go to the QRS, do Control F if you are on a laptop, and search for the tones, okay? Or just go to my videos and then search for tones. There, I have, more than 2-3 videos dedicated to tones only. And understanding tones is not just important for the poems, but also for the RCs. So therefore, please go through them. It's a small videos are there, like 10-10 minutes long. You will not have any difficulty going through it. It will really make you strong. And I see that verbal section is something which is troubling people, especially when it comes to that examination. So make sure that you give your 100% effort into this. Okay. The third point is that you have to read the poem again, second time, but this time one stanza at a time. Okay. So when you read through one stanza at a time, you would be able to encapsulate what are the things which are coming in specific paras. So that again, how will this help you in answering the question? It will help you again in option elimination. So poems are not like RCs, remember. The difference between poem and an RC is that RC is somewhat general and overall. Something which is quoted in the paragraph 2 can be asked in paragraph 3 back. But when it comes to a poem, suppose I am constantly talking about a sunflower and its beauty in the poem in paragraph number 2 or stanza 2, okay, and then about a bee in stanza 3, then you know that if a question arises about a sunflower, you don't have to go and read the whole poem again. You just have to focus on stanza 2. That was where the sunflower was described. So therefore, this becomes really easy in a poem to option eliminate things based on the stanzas. So divide the poem into stanzas if given and try to figure out what is being mentioned in each stanza. Make a note of it. Then, number 4, read the poem in sentences, not by lines. Okay, this is very essential, very important, and I'm pretty sure that many of you don't do it. So I'll just quickly slide back to my previous example, which I gave you in the last workshop of poems. Over here, if you see this, okay, 1 minute. I'll just take you to one of the PYQs only. Look, this one. The world is too much with us, late and soon, and we stop and try to understand the meaning. Well, this is not how poems are read, my dear friend. You have to read where there is a full stop, where you have to stop where there is a full stop. There is no full stop, there is no full stop, there is no full stop. Well, this one is what? This one is an exclamation mark. An exclamation mark is considered as a full stop only when we are talking about something with a, very good expression. So here we have to stop. So that means we have to read this full thing together. We don't have to stop in the middle. The world is too much with us, late and soon, getting and spending. We lay waste our powers, little we see in nature that is ours. We have given our hearts away, a sordid boon. Now figure out कि ये पूरा बोलना क्या चाह रहा है. Now figure out the things, okay? Stop only when there is a full stop like this, or stop only when there is an exclamation mark like this. Okay? Don't stop in the midway. Otherwise, you will not understand anything properly. So, if you are making notes or if you are trying to go through the various things, just make sure that you are not following the lines but following the sentences. Now, fifth thing, of course, you will find up some unfamiliar words in the poem. Look up for them, see if you can make a guess out of it, or see how it is placed in the sentence and how you can figure out its meaning. If yes, very good. If not, please don't spend more than 50 seconds thinking about that. Because if you do so, you're only wasting your time, right? No one is going to provide you a dictionary in the middle of the exam. So if you don't know a word, please don't feel bad about it and please don't start wasting time upon it. Now, number six, pay attention to the symbols, connotations, and allusions. Okay, this is, of course, a very essential part of a poem. Poems are meant for that only. Someone who is good at poetry or someone who is good at poetry, reading, and understanding are the ones who understand the various types of symbols, connotations, and allusions. Now is not the time to go into the depth and understand each and every connotation and allusion because your exam is very close. But what you can do is at least try to figure out the feeling of the author. Feeling of the author. Now, in the simplified format, I'm saying this. This is for the general public who are not into, much poetry, poem reading, and all that. So, for them, this is that please go and try to figure out what the poet is trying to convey through this poem. What are the feelings involved? What are his views? And if you start thinking in that direction, all the connotations, allusions, and symbols will come in its place. Now, one very essential thing over here, which you need to pay, full attention, is the capital letters. Now, this is again something which was not very well known among all of you. Paying attention to capital letters will help us a lot because poets don't really follow the rule that if something is written, like they'll start a sentence with small w when, and then they will suddenly write a letter which is capital, like when sunflower. So the sun will be, S will be capital. Now here in poem, it's all allowed. Okay, I'll just go back and show you one of the examples of the PYQs over here. Look over here. See how they are, look, the nature has a capital N in it, but it shouldn't have had it, right? Because little already has a capital L. So why are we having a capital N in nature? Because we are trying to put more emphasis on it. Not we, but the poet. Here the poet is William Wordsworth. He is trying to put more focus on the word नेचर सो हमारे आंसर्स भी नेचर के अराउंड ही घूमेंगे याद रखना दिस इज हाउ इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट this C, why is this C's S capital? Because the author or the poet here is trying to focus on the C. Okay, C is more important. Okay, that's how. Pagan, P capital. Proteus, P capital. Tritian, T capital. These all things show that in the poem, whenever you come across a word in the middle of the sentence which is in capital, you understand that it is worth your attention. You have to pay more attention to that. All right. Fine, then we finally come down to the eighth point, which is reading through the paraphrases and putting them together. So, paraphrases here means that whatever you understood from each paragraph and you noted down, put it together and see what comes out as a overall conclusion or a result, and then try to figure out how is it related to the questions being asked in the poem RCs. And the ninth and the final one is consider the use of rhymes and repetition. Some poems will have it, some poems will not have it. So don't be, blindly follow that rule. But yes, rhymes and repetitions do help you to understand the poem much better. So if at all it is present in the given poem, you can make use of it and start guessing what are the what are the things which poet is focusing on. So it's a like general poet things. Remember, few things which will really help you in the poem is not reading by lines, but reading in sentences, using or paying attention to the capital letters, getting the general tone. Okay, these things are some essential tips which I find myself very helpful for poem RCs. Okay, and the final thing of the video today. The Flea is a poem by John Donne. Okay, this is a metaphysical poem, and when I say metaphysical poem, that means that it is using. You guys must have heard about the term metaphor and simile. Okay, this is a homework for you guys. You all have to tell me that. What is the difference between metaphor and simile? Okay, so when we are talking about metaphor and simile, there is one more type of comparison here, and this comparison is basically a comparison which will take you in a completely different direction, like the comparison which does not even make sense. Okay, so both are comparisons, like metaphor and simile, both are comparisons only. Give me examples or tell me the definition of metaphor and simile in the comment section. I'll be waiting for your answers. Last time you guys really cracked it, the empathy and the sympathy one. I loved that. Okay. But here, I want you to tell me about metaphor and simile. So this is very important with respect to the poems, and I've also discussed that with you guys in the last video. So I don't think you will have any problem. But metaphysical poetry is something where you compare two very different things. Like my professor himself told it in the class. He quoted the song that तू किसी रेल सी गुजरती है मैं किसी पुल सा थरथराता हूँ. So he said that does it really make sense? Think about you're comparing a girl with a rail gadi and you're comparing the boy with a pull, a bridge. But then the thing is that yes, it still makes sense when it comes to poetry. So yes, this is a metaphysical poet, and you know what's the context of it? You will laugh your heart out if you read it or hear it. The context is that there's a boy, there's a girl, and there's a flea. Okay, flea is a insect, if you guys know that. So the flea bit the boy and then bit the girl, and then the girl tried to kill the flea. So when the girl was trying to kill the flea, the boy's inner poet came up, and the poet started saying, "Oh God, what are you going to do? This flea is a symbol of our love." And the girl asked, like, how? So so the boy said that, "Oh my God, this flea has my blood and your blood, and inside this flea now, both our bloods have mingled. So even without having any physical intercourse, we are one, and there is a union of we two in that flea. And how are you planning to kill that flea?" So it's a very comedy poem, okay, to be very honest. Okay, when I read through the full poem, I was like laughing out hard. So, yes, but whatever it is, he was discussing a lot about this poem. So I had a hunch that पता नहीं अगर ये important हुआ और आपके काम आ गया तो बहुत ही मजा आएगा. So go through this poem as well if you get some time, and see how can you analyze this poem, how can you get answers and questions from this poem. And that's all for this video, guys. If you like this video, drill तो पता ही है, like करना है, share करना है, and subscribe भी करना है. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel as well and share it with more and more and more people. Let's hit the higher numbers on the chat, guys. And this will be possible only if you guys share this video, because I am not doing any advertisements, okay? And neither I'm going to do. So it's only and only upon you that if you guys share and share with more number of people, only then this channel will hit higher numbers. So see you in the upcoming video. Till then, take care of yourself, study hard, and that's all. Thank you so much.